Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
And we're back. The Backpack Boys. Ouch here.
Backpack Boys.
Ah! You got your boy Enrique Gabriel Giovanni Nunez Iglesias. Here today.
I guess I come next, right? I come next.
It doesn't
That's me.
matter. Yeah.
What's my name today? I think I'm always gonna be Zaddy, right? Zaddy's always gonna be my name, but
Okay.
also Hasanito, aka Don't Leave Your Bitch Around Me, aka Leave Your Bitch Around Me. Won't change anything. Aka Never Sharing My Government Name. Back at it again, but we have 2 new guests.
Where we at? Guests or potential?
You're right. I said guests.
Backpackineers.
Backpackineers.
They're
backpacking off the Backpack Boys?
Backpacking. I guess I'll introduce myself. I'll stick with my Spanish name, Teodoro. All right, me and Hasanito go way back, and
all day.
Also referred to as Kobe. And yeah, that's it. That's it for me.
Kobe. Oh my gosh.
Well,
I mean, I was not ready for this. I thought I was going to use my real name, but I guess that's not happening. So
you can.
Well, I can,
I just need to
but I think it'd be
live.
safer for me not to. I don't know where this conversation is going to go, so I'll just go with Jesus. I'll go with that one.
Jesus middle name or just a single name?
No, that's it. Jesus. No one knows
name.
Spanish. No one knows.
Do they when they called you that in class? Did they ever pronounce it incorrectly? Or did, they always got it on point?
Some people call me Jesus, but that's another thing. So.
But you didn't get it.
Wow. Then the lightning comes and strikes him directly. That's crazy. Oh my fucking god. I think we should all disclose our locations since this is our first video podcast. We should all let everyone know where we're at.
Exactly, 100%. What's our location?
Enrique.
This is a fully COVID safe, different separate rooms podcast, you guys.
Yeah.
We're abiding by the FDA regulations. FDA is food, or I don't know.
Is it hot?
CDC regulations.
Same thing.
That's what we're abiding by. Yeah.
I am here in the state of New York, Tennessee.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm coming live from the middle of the woods in Montana. Don't be fooled by my background. That is just a virtual background. I'm actually in wilderness as we speak.
Seems so real.
I can see the green. I'm in Zimbabwe, so I'm here, got to work remote, so Zimbabwe is where I decided to be.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
Yeah, very nice. Very down to here now.
How's what's the weather like over there?
It's pretty hot, to be honest. It's like 53 degrees.
53?
That's at nighttime degrees. So,
okay. It's nighttime there.
During the day, it's like
it's nighttime here.
Yeah.
Wait, we have the same time schedule?
Yeah, I think basically because of global warming, I think the fact that
the sun moves at the same time. Holy
exactly.
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Time zones. Bullshit. Time zones are absolute bullshit.
Absolutely
doesn't matter.
That's a deep.
That's not
a rabbit hole. That's a rabbit hole. Time. What is time?
And I'm here in New Jersey, just chilling like a villain.
He's lying. He's actually in California right now. He's in California.
He's actually in Wakanda.
That's what friends are.
Wait, my favorite part is that he goes, "My name is Jesus," and his fucking Zoom name says Killmonger. I'm confused.
That's the whole point. You're supposed to be confused.
My name
is Killmonger. That's actually.
I'm with you. I'm with it.
All right, y'all. So we are back at it again for the podcast you guys have been so waiting for. Thank you, fans, for coming in, just always wanting more and more. You guys came with some subjects for this very podcast, and one of them being sunscreen. Shouts out to Nelly from Kansas, Utah. Thank you, Nelly, for sunscreen. What was the next one?
Second topic was fade, and that came from Miguel out in Tempe, Arizona.
Arizona. Very nice place.
Damn, thanks, Miguel.
Yeah, shout out to Miguel.
Shout out to Miguel.
And the third one, Kobe.
I think it was furniture, correct? I think that was Chelsea from Sacramento.
Thank you,
With
Chelsea.
yeah, Chelsea
Damn.
from
You sound cute,
Sacramento.
Chelsea.
Damn.
Are you single?
Okay, calm down now.
Okay.
Maybe we should go back to our first word.
Permission.
Permission.
Yeah,
Sunscreen. Who uses it
I
and
believe-
why?
I don't. I can say that for a fact.
Have you ever
I
used it?
definitely
Have you
don't.
ever been curious of it?
No, I've never been curious of it. Never had to use it. Was never told to use it until, until I left Wakanda and came to America, and then I realized it was a thing that people used.
Sunscreen. So
Yeah.
it's super foreign to you your whole life.
Yes, it is.
Is that suggesting that sunscreen's a luxury?
No, I'm suggesting that it's a lighter skin tone thing.
Interesting. So like a white person thing is what you're saying.
Nope, didn't say that. It said lighter skin tone. Just like
I heard you.
anybody
Sorry.
with a lighter
The,
skin
the
tone.
connection here is different. I myself have, I probably could use sunscreen sometimes, but I kind of hold it on a chip on my shoulder. Kind of, I don't need to use it, So I go as far as I can without needing sunscreen. But usually it's my shoulders that go first. They burn up. They get a little crispy, but that's after a good 5 hours in sun. So
wait, you peel.
I've peeled before.
Dude, it's
Not a
confirmed.
fan of the
He's white.
leprosy.
He's white.
Yeah,
He's white.
not a fan of the
It's
leprosy,
confirmed.
bro.
Just confirmed live on air.
I had the caramel Dominican. Caramel flavored Dominican peels. Headline news.
For me, I didn't used to use sunscreen, and then someone I know who was of the darker skin got skin cancer, and then I started throwing on SPF 10
You started applying.
after that.
SPF 10.
Yeah.
10.
SPF 10.
That's just
Yeah.
subconscious. That's for your subconscious at that point. That's not really doing anything.
100%. Just
Yeah,
the
that's-
psyche.
You lather it in
Strictly-
your subconscious. you okay.
The power of
Yeah,
melanin,
you
baby. The power of melanin.
Well, I guess I'll talk from the other end of the spectrum. I use,
SP.
Dave did that.
I gotta custom order that shit. SPF 4000.
SPF 155. I'm out here. If I don't use sunscreen, I'll burn up, and most of the time I'm pretty stupid, so I don't use sunscreen. So if I go to the beach or something, I don't tend to put it on, and it's normally an afterthought that I wish I did after the fact. So yeah, I've had plenty of times where I burnt the shit out of myself and peeled my skin, couldn't move, had pieces of shit, slapped the shit out of where my sunscreen was. Yeah, not fun. Not
Damn.
being burned is not where you want to
God
be.
damn. Wow.
You,
That's
you guys know that there's a difference between sunscreen and sunblock?
No, absolutely not.
No,
It's
I did not know
the
that.
exact same thing. It's the exact same thing.
Is it or is it not?
No, I'm reading it right now. Sunscreen is a chemical defense penetrating the skin and absorbing the UV rays before they reach and damage the dermal layers. Sunblock is just a
alright.
physical way to defend.
So this actually
They're
brings
different.
up a question that let's actually answer that question first. That they are different. What's the difference?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. Why are they different?
Sunblock is
sun-
like a physical barrier, and then sunscreen is what we're actually referring to as sunscreen.
So like
It's
sunblock could be like an umbrella.
Oh, like
Exactly.
a hat. Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay.
So shade.
This
Basically,
brings up
they're talking
my
about shade.
question.
exactly.
That's what they're talking about. Okay.
It's advertisement. This brings up my question. Okay, so does that mean, let's just say white people, are white people meant, so humans in general, do you think we're meant to be we thrive in specific climates, like we're made to be in a specific environment for our body to thrive? So like, I would
Yeah, I
assume,
believe that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't that kind of what happened? I thought all life kind of originated from Africa, and then as we inhabited different parts of the world, over time, evolution, we didn't need to be people didn't have to be as dark to live in the middle of a fucking in Antarctica where it's snowy all the time. So why do you need so your skin lightens up because you don't need the protection? Is that how it works?
Conspiracy theory.
I
Time.
guess.
Well, you're right, but I mean, Eskimos do tend to have darker skin. They're not, completely white. So
Well, how do you block from like the sunburn? Because isn't there some like type of like sunburn you can get from like reflection off snow?
This is very
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So like
Well,
that's why I assume they're a little bit darker, but I haven't really thought that deep into it because I never had to worry about
Yeah.
sunscreen. So this is all new to me right now. I'm learning so much.
If melanin absorbs like UV rays, then it would make sense for an Eskimo to have darker skin, right? Because that would mean they'd be more likely to survive out there. So
that
still fits.
Like sunlight, they don't always have sunlight all the time, right? It's like only a couple months of the year.
Yeah.
So that's also, like they have that and they have darkness like the other half. So that's probably why there aren't, they're not black and maybe just slightly darker than white people.
Like where my ancestors are from, Ireland, we're literally sitting in the shade all day, just covered by rain. We don't need this. Like we're not even seeing the sunlight. They're just a bunch of pale people in Ireland, just like slowly withering away.
Shout out to the homie. Shout out to the homie for this conspiracy theory, but your ancestors are not from Ireland. That's just like.
But I'm talking about like not like all the way back in time. My ancestors not from Ireland.
Your ancestors are aliens, dude. You're part of the alien species.
That's true.
You think so?
White people are aliens, dude.
White people with blue eyes are aliens for sure, guaranteed.
White people are aliens, and this is not my conspiracy theory, but I am starting to believe it the more I hear about it. But okay, so black people, right? Lowlands, around the equator, close to the sun, more melanin. White people ended up going to places of higher altitude, and they were up there for a while. If aliens were to land on the planet Earth and mate with something that looks like nothing else in the world, they would create what you would think? White people, blonde hair, blue eyes, white, high altitudes, built to live in that environment. Who else would also be in high altitudes?
Hold up. Plot twist though in your theory. A little hole in your theory though. What about?
Let's go.
What about Asia? Right? Like there are mountains in Asia. There are people in the Tibetan, in Tibet who live up high in mountains. They're not white.
Also aliens.
Amalgamation. Amalgamation.
Okay. All right.
They're
I didn't think that was going to be the answer, but okay.
Combination of alien white and native Mongolian. I don't know how far back that goes. I have no idea how far back that goes. I could be completely fucking off kilter here. But a combination of the two. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, so my ancestors are aliens. There's no I have nothing besides aliens.
Your great grandfather was probed by an alien who was like, oh.
Can you describe for the fans that aren't viewing what probing is? How did they do that?
Not without permission.
And that goes.
Well, no, they do it without permission. Definitely without permission. They don't ask for it.
No,
that's
an assumption.
You don't think?
That's an assumption. Todd's grandfather could have been super down.
Grandfather.
Todd's ancestral grandfather. Ancestral grandfather could have been super down.
Do you think? Okay, what do you think the moral code of say this fictitious or real alien is? What do you think their moral codes are? Holy fuck. Codes.
There you go, buddy.
Shit. How do you think that differs from us? Do you think, say, permission isn't necessarily even a thing that has to be considered? Is that even like a...
Well, it depends on how they exist, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like
at this point, we're just imagining what we think, but
yeah, exactly. Like, are they? I don't know. Like, are they like ethereal beings who just who just communicate telepathically? Like, we don't know. Like, we just think of it in the way that we, perceive each other. So maybe they don't need to ask for permission because they already know that person is agreeable to the action.
Yeah.
You think like emotionally, like they're like
the
way they are able to like. That's interesting.
But then again, I am assuming that aliens are higher beings, which is
right. Yeah, that primary assumption there is that like they're smarter than we are.
but they
Yeah,
also
but
be.
then again, if they're
I mean,
here,
not
then
smarter,
I would assume
different
they're
though.
smarter.
Different.
I think
Different.
that's so interesting. Everyone always says that. Everyone says if they're able to get here, then they have to be smarter than us. What if the only thing they know how to do is travel? Like, what is that? What if that's their only capability?
And also, what if they get here by accident? You know, like
Right.
there's a lot of things
Like,
that happen by
what if they
mistake.
Christopher Columbus
They
that shit? That doesn't
continuously
mean.
keep coming back by accident. It's not like they one time came here. They accidentally
Well,
just
Yeah,
keep hitting the earth.
if we're supporting Hassan's theory that all of us are from aliens, that means
Yeah.
they have.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. I'm of this earth. Thank you very much. No, I think truthfully, I think it's unfair for us to assume that aliens will be smarter than us, but I think they like morality. I think their codes might be a
Unfair? You
little
think
bit
it's unfair?
different. Yeah, that's putting so much. I don't know. I think that's like, what if they're not?
I don't know.
Like,
Isn't that a compliment? I feel like we're complimenting them.
that is a compliment to assume that
Yeah.
they're smarter than us. But like, why? But that's
I
also
think it's-
unneeded pressure.
I think it's boring, dude. If you're not gonna think about aliens and not think that they're smarter, there's no point of even thinking about it.
That's what I'm saying.
Who wants to think
Who
about
wants a
dumb,
stupid
like,
alien?
creature? Yeah, like
Yeah.
That's true.
like-
So where are they? What's taking them so long?
So that brings up like, are we just using aliens as like a almost like
Hold on.
Not let me,
Before we go down this alien path, I gotta go back to the sunscreen real quick because again, I don't know, but I've heard that once you get to like past like SPF 35, it doesn't work. Like it's like SPF 50 is the same as SPF 35. Is that true? I guess I'll ask you, Todd, considering
I have
you're the
heard.
resident.
I have heard.
I heard the stories.
That certain levels don't really. Honestly, anytime I put on sunscreen, no matter what SPF is, I just don't get burned. So,
Okay.
but the thing is, you have to continuously reapply it. They like get you. They're like, if you forget for like an hour, you're like gonna
How
get
many
burned.
tubes on like a 90-degree
you
beach
constantly-
day? How many tubes do you go through on a 90?
I mean, I prefer the spray. Like, I don't like, feeling like I'm running mayonnaise all over my skin. It doesn't feel good. So I would prefer, like, the
Does
spray.
mayonnaise work if you don't have sunscreen? What's the backup?
I mean, honestly, anything that covers your skin, you can just wear a long sleeve shirt. And
Maple
that
syrup,
basically-
change it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
That might
no, that
actually-
sounds awful.
Yeah, that seems like it would probably, maybe reflect the light a little brighter into your body and actually cook you. You probably get a little,
Yeah, exactly.
You might be toasted. That's a good thing. That's a goal. Not burnt, but toasted. That's
just like a little maple jerky on your, on your arms.
I don't know if you guys
Just
have ever seen.
gnawing on your arm.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen Seinfeld, but there's one episode where this guy puts butter as his sunscreen and just goes outside tanning, and he falls asleep, and basically he cooks himself.
Well, that's the
It's,
other thing. Outside of sunscreen, people use tanning oil, which is literally just like olive oil that they put on their skin, and they're just like,
Yeah.
all right, sun, cook me. And like people like want to get burnt. Like there's white people that like actively try to get as dark as possible.
Oh no!
Like,
Is that even
yeah.
That's like a
possible? I've
goal.
never seen an actual tan person. They strive, but I've never seen achieved.
I
I mean,
mean,
there are people who
it's
go to like tanning
nasty.
salons and stuff.
You gotta
Right.
think of like the 75-year-old guys that like live on the beach and like just don't
Yeah.
wear clothes.
Okay.
Like,
But
and their
it's always
skin
for
is-
me.
Their
For me-
skin feels like a tire. Like it's literally like.
How many old men have you groped as a child? You were like,
I mean,
Kobe's trying to tell us something way bigger now.
it's getting deep. Okay,
Catch
but
the
it's
hints, guys.
always
Catch the hints.
it's always they get a tan, but it's always like that's a white man with a tan. You know what I mean? It's not like
Yeah.
I could tell it's a different flavor of skin color. Is all I'm saying. It's like you're orange. You're
It's
an
the lack of
Oompa Loompa.
elasticity for me that always like. That's when I'm like, oh, okay, like you worked actively hard to get this. It's nasty.
yeah.
Damn.
But it's weird though. It's weird how there are white people who want to get darker, because even though they have a thing against. Well, sorry, not all white people, but certain white people have a thing against darker skinned people. So it just kind of seems like ironic that there are people who are into that.
I mean, it's
Yeah, you hate the things you want to be like.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very.
It's like
true.
commonality, just in life in general.
All right, we can go back to the alien thing now. I just need to know about the SPF 30.
Where
thing.
were we probing and how that happens?
Yeah,
No lube,
probing
with
and
lube?
permission, and how they exist. Like, are they stupid? Are they smart? You know.
Yeah, if they're smart, what's taking them so long? Earth's been around for a minute. And especially if they've already been here, like, you already know the way to get here. What's taking you
I
so
mean,
long?
they're working on a whole new concept of life. Like, for all we know, they're just like at a different. They'll be
They're
here.
here,
Don't
they're
worry.
just not on the plane.
Don't
We're
worry.
not on the right plane to be able to even understand or
It's
even
super
sight
true, though.
them.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing I'm starting to believe in because I don't believe in God, but I'm just kidding. I love God.
If you think about it,
Jesus,
I
I
mean,
love you.
technically we're aliens to somebody, right? If there's other beings, whether they're smart or stupid, then I mean they're probably asking the same question, like why haven't we gone and
They're waiting for us. We're waiting for
How would
them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So,
how would
like,
we characterize ourselves? Do we characterize ourselves as a smart being? Like, do you like? I don't know. Like the same way
I mean,
we're saying aliens are smarter than us. Are we smart when
That's
we go to
true.
those places as aliens?
Or are we not aliens already?
could be.
If we're looking from like the perspective of like an animal, aren't we aliens? To them?
No, well, alien just means what planet you're from. Like we're talking about different race now. That's what you're talking about.
yeah.
So if you're not, so for example, like they just sent like a rover up to Mars. If they found something there, and then we sent like a manned mission, like Elon Musk sent someone to
You're
Mars.
speaking of aliens
then
in the context of planets.
yeah, I mean that's at least that's how I think. That's how aliens
Yeah.
are defined, right?
I don't know. I have not a fucking.
I mean, does someone want to look that up real quick? Because
I
don't
mean,
wanna be
I'm
right here
pretty
just
sure.
talking out of my ass right now.
You sound real confident. I'll accept that as a truth.
I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk himself is the best we have to offer. If like we was like aliens that came here, we'd be like, all right, talk to this guy. But I'm pretty sure he already is an alien himself. Like I don't even think he. And then you got Lil Wayne who always claims that he's an alien. So you're like, where are we going with this? Like people.
Wait, this poses a really good question. If we like had to choose ambassadors for Earth, and you could choose 3 people, who would you choose to be the ambassadors of Earth?
Well,
You said Lil Wayne, Elon Musk.
What would be the
Lil
criteria
Wayne.
though? Like, what
Why
are we
is he
trying
an
to?
ambassador?
What are we trying to like show?
Let's say it's
the
like
aliens,
there's
you know what I mean?
there's an intergalactic UN, right? So there's
Right.
like whatever, and their job is to hold peace with the other nations or other planets and galaxies. Who are the 3 people that you're sending?
Definitely not Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely not.
We
Lil
can
Wayne.
all
I
agree.
Might
can
send
all
Wayne.
agree
Might
that
send
Messi-
Weezy.
Lionel Messi.
I mean,
I'll
he
send
might be.
Ronaldo.
He's shy, humble, he's strong.
I mean, I think we understand out of the two of them, Ronaldo and Messi. Messi is clearly more supernatural.
All right.
I mean, if we're really gonna talk about that, I mean, someone
This is a
clearly
whole.
is.
This
You
is a
know?
whole. This is a whole.
What do you think? What furniture does Messi sit on? What does he sleep on? What kind of bed? What bed does he
Probably
sleep
He does-
really.
He doesn't sleep. He just juggles.
I think.
Whenever
I think
he's like not sleeping, he's juggling.
I think he just has a cocoon. Like he just kind of like builds himself a place to lay, like wherever he wants to sleep. You know?
Yeah, he spends 2 hours stripping balls so that he can wrap himself in it so that he can
Yeah.
go to sleep, and then he peels himself out in the morning.
I mean, dude, if anyone was gonna tell me anybody's an alien, I would pick Messi. Like that dude's out of this world. I mean, come on.
Oh no, I think Elon Musk is an alien. Not
Oh, for
just
sure.
for like
I mean, look what he named his kid, bro. Like, what is that? Is that
What
like
did
a
he name his
equation?
kid? I know it was something weird.
Or
I
Doodoo
can't
or
pronounce
some
it.
shit like that.
It's like an equation. It's like a scientific equation.
Oh,
You can't
that kid's gonna get bullied so much.
Is he?
not only that, that's so much pressure.
That
This kid
kid's gonna
has to
have
be
fucking
fucking
CIA
like,
students just like security, just fucking.
No, like he's gonna get bullied, but the joke is gonna be on the bullies, not on him, because he's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the guy at fucking 18 who comes back and is like, I'm the shit and I've got a gun. He's going to be scary, terrifying. He's going to have Elon Musk level like confidence starting at 17, 18 years old. Terrifying. He also has Elon Musk money. Dude, that kid's he's an asshole.
The teachers,
Straight up.
he's just fucking telling the teachers what to do.
He's just throwing money in their
You gave
face.
me a
Do
B,
you want to
did
go to
you?
Mars?
You gave me a B, did you?
Yeah, right.
Well.
Oh my fucking god. are you guys fearful of? Do you think furniture will be the same once we leave Earth? If we leave Earth, like, do you think the designs
Furniture
will
will
all
be
be
the
the
same?
same? Yeah.
It depends. You know, we have to
Yeah,
account for
probably.
like the weightlessness. Like, dude, are we like, does furniture even have to exist if we don't like? We could just float somewhere and just kind of just, you know, be in a room, but like be comfortably floating.
Do you think things are gonna become beyond like, say, if we on a different planet, but just like the future here? Like, do you think furniture is gonna be more like functional in some contexts? Like, are couches gonna be? I feel like couches are it's just for design right now. It's just for decoration in some ways, right? Like, do you how do we think like furniture is gonna evolve?
Do you think you're saying like will functionality be more favored as furniture continues to be built over time?
Yeah.
Well, doesn't all furniture have a like general? Well, not all. Most furniture has a function, though, right? As in, like in a couch, you sit on it. On a bed, you sleep on it. On a chair, like again, you sit on it. So, like, are
I
we
guess
talking
on
about
an
like general
ergonomical
furniture, or are we
I
talking
think we're
about like
like
design
ergonomically,
furniture? Okay.
right? Like ergonomically, will ergonomics be heavily valued in furniture as we continue to like progress? I don't think so. Truthfully.
Would it? Do you think the human posture is gonna? Do we have to cater to the new human posture? I have a feeling that posture is gonna be like our slump shoulders and shit like that. That's something that's just gonna be the norm, and it pretty much is becoming the norm now. Like, just of how much we text and stuff like that. Do you think we're gonna cater furniture to that to better support our fucking C-shaped bodies?
I mean,
That'd
eventually,
be a good idea. Yeah.
eventually, if like you know we evolve and we all have fucking hunchbacks, they're gonna make furniture that's comfortable for people that all have hunchbacks. I mean, they're gonna do whatever the majority needs.
But why does it have to like? Why do you have to correct something after something's happened? Like, why can't you recognize that what we're doing isn't working and that we should try to correct it? With the basic saying like prevention is better than cure. Like, why not try to prevent that from happening versus figuring out how to cure it?
So you're saying they should make furniture that's preventative instead of like just a regular chair. They should make a chair that like helps you with your posture, like fixes your posture, basically.
I think it should just be more highly prioritized. That's what I'll say.
I don't know. I think a posture is something that you can't regulate. You can't help people fix their posture. People are gonna sit and ruin their bodies however they want to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think posture is also not something that can be generalized. I think posture is individual.
Yeah, agreed. That's like trying to put like the whole world like on a diet, like eat a certain way. Everybody has to eat this certain amount of food depending on like how much fucking you weigh. This how much you get to eat, and like sure there'd be benefits for that, but then you take away people's freedom. You know, people want to eat like 700 Big Macs, they're gonna do it. If people want to sit and look like this, you know, they're gonna fight for their right to do that. You know? Clearly.
I mean, I think if there's going to be any evolution in furniture, it's going to be furniture that is kind of like a
does everything
one
for
size
you.
fits all and type thing. So, you know, like everybody has a different body, or some people have hunchbacks, some people don't. You know, some people want to sit a certain way that isn't good for them. Some people just don't really care. Like they're probably, if they're going to make furniture that's, I guess, better than what we have, it's going to be something that can like adapt to, you know, whoever is sitting on it. But like that's like highly specialized, and I think we're a long way from that.
I mean,
That's
they got like the sleep number bed, which I guess is a kind of like idea of like that. Where
exactly.
You can, like, honestly, dude, I'm just hoping that one day we're all like just floating around in like the chairs from WALL-E. You know, we don't have to worry about nothing. We're just sitting in the chairs, just floating around.
Literally, we don't even need to
use
our biological
I don't want to lose
anymore.
my bone mass though. I don't want to just turn into a fat lard. That was awful. Those news
it's all conscious, dude. That's all we are. We're just our brain. Our bodies don't no longer exist. We upload ourselves into whatever we want to be.
Upload ourselves to the Matrix.
Like just imagine one day. I mean, I feel like this is completely realistic. Like one day we're just like, people are going to be happier just living their entire life on the internet anyway. So like one day we're just going to be able to. But like I think it's going to get to the point where like you can't even tell the difference between like the simulated world.
This is where
Yeah, like
That's
Ready
I
Player
don't know.
One type shit. Like Ready Player One
No,
type
dude,
shit.
that's
Like,
coming. That's one.
dude,
I'm with you.
and like NFTs and all that shit. It's like virtual currency.
It's
like
there.
you want virtual weapons and virtual like, oh, you died in the game. You gotta like relax,
Yeah.
and then you just come back, and then this is who you are. It's like that game Roy from
Get the
fucking
fuck
Rick
outta
and
here,
Morty.
man.
It's literally that, except you have your body's just existing. You know, in the real,
I mean,
real world.
I think you bring up a really good example of like NFTs. Like, then one of they're trying to do two things with that. There's like, one is that they're able to create virtual art into physical art so that you could display it like in the real world. But the bigger like trek right now is creating virtual spaces for you to be able to display your art. So like, you as a person who owns one of ones of whatever the NFT art that you purchase, you go to virtual like gallery, and you can go walk around and experience the arts that they've purchased throughout the world and have one of ones. Like, the whole thing is moving towards
Dude, we're virtual
a
reality.
complete
That's
like
so scary,
a
dude.
virtual life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and now you can show like you can be braggadocious in virtual life because you can say, I have this Beeple piece that no one else has, and I spent X amount of money on it. Like, it's already getting to that point.
Have you guys seen like the you know, like the GTA 5 or whatever? They have like this new like thing that people do on like live streams and shit, like Twitch, where basically it's a giant open world, and you basically are sitting there playing the game, but like they have proximity chat. So like you put on headphones, and like if you go to someone close in the game, you then can talk to them like they're right next to you. Like you could say like, oh, you see like a girl character, you walk up to her, then all of a sudden you guys are connected and you guys can communicate. It's a real person playing, and then if you go far away from them, you're no longer can communicate. It's literally already like happening. Like, and you could like meet a girl on there and be like, hey, like come fucking fuck me in the back, and like I'll pay you like $5.
The girl fuck you.
Yeah, like you pay her in like the game. It's literally like GTA. You can literally put like walk up to a girl who's actually a stripper in the game, pay her to like do her shit in the game for you, and then like,
dude, and then like you're just gonna have all the devices in the world. Literally, you're never gonna need to get married or anything.
But think about this on a generational level, right? Let's just like kind of let's walk through it, right? 1990s, let's say mass computers, right? That's what our parents know. Our parents are very big into computers. Granted, things have now picked up pace. Technology changes like every 2 years now versus then every 10 like it used to. 2000s, think about kids in 2000s, never born without cell phones, only know cell phones. Also grow up in middle school, high school, all of those like really adolescent times, online.
I see where you're going.
Wait until what happens. What are the kids who are in 2010s, 2020s who grow up on like Twitch,
TikTok?
That's what I'm saying. Think of the kids now,
TikTok,
like
for their entire lives. Yeah,
they're already living in a virtual reality. Like their identity is being built in a fictitious world. It's like, well, it's real. Like it's real to them, but like
it's real. It's not that it's not a real world. It's just completely removed from actual
what we know.
Yeah. And like you can even recognize that within like our like generations or like the kids right under us. You recognize how valuable like Instagram is to them and stuff like that. I think we're in the generation that's right in between, and some of us are already like too lost and too gone and it's never coming back. But we're in that generation of right before that tech boom happened and experiencing what life was before that and what life is after it. So we can recognize the differences between it. And I think that's why we're so important in being able to be like, yo, just because we can do this,
are we a deciding factor? Are we kind of like, are we that important? Are you saying our generation is the most important generation? I think so.
I'm saying we have context. We have context, but we're also fucking it up because we're doing nothing to stop it, like whatsoever.
Yeah,
like,
I'm kind of trying to be in.
What are we doing as a generation?
You sold me today.
Exactly.
I'm going. I'm putting my headset on and leaving.
Well, what can we do as a generation? Like, because most of our generation, most of us are now starting to get married and like haven't had kids yet. So all those kids that are growing up, like it's the older generation who are kind of in control of what, you know, the younger generation, the people under us are, you know, consuming. So like basically
it's
it'd be
not.
on
So I think it's
Is
our
it not?
offspring. I think it's our offspring that's going to do, but it's our job to teach that offspring what to do or something like
right.
that.
But I'm saying like right now, like what can we do to affect the younger generation? Not our offspring,
I think that's
but
the
the
most
younger
important thing we
generation
can do.
now.
Beyond, I think in
Yeah,
our
I-
control is our offspring.
Good.
Is what we
Right.
produce.
Yeah,
Right,
like you said, like we can't control. Like I have my sister who literally is on her phone. Like that's her. Like I could completely understand. Like if like that became who she was or how she viewed herself in the world. But like my parents are not connected enough to understand why she feels that way. But I am connected enough to understand why she feels that way. So it's like, you know, the
You're the
parents
happy
that have
medium.
so the parents that have those kids that don't have any older siblings or like that's their first kid, their parents can't relate to like what their kids are growing up with, so they
Interesting.
don't understand it. So like they just are completely lost into that world with no way to get back. Honestly, it's like
But what's even scarier, going back to that idea, is that like it's really interesting. We kind of have this set idea of what reality should be, but that's really going to be the future. Like people literally now pretty much live in a completely different reality, but that's no more realistic than what we've lived in. Just like they're dealing with the same emotions we've dealt with. It's just a different context, but the realities aren't. It's not any better or worse. It's just a different reality.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I also don't know if like you're like piggybacking off of that is like you're right. I think sometimes people's virtual lives make them more unhappy than their actual lives too, and like yet you still feel the necessity to be completely plugged into it. So if emotions don't dictate what the amount of time that you spend in a virtual world, what does? Like is it pressure? Is it societal pressure to be involved on every single next big thing? Like what gets people constantly going back to do something that may bring them true unhappiness?
Slight dopamine
That-
hits.
But that has to be either the dopamine hits or the fact of like the fitting in, like the people who are not established about who they are as a person yet. They're still trying to find like this is what I want to be in the world. Like mental health is like a crazy thing that like people don't even understand. We don't even like educate like young people to really get it until they're already at a place where they feel like they already have something like a depression, and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that I could be or have social anxiety. And by the time they're like 20, like, oh my God, I have social anxiety. I probably had it forever and I didn't even know what it was. So like you get to this point where like you don't address or educate people on mental health, and then their mental health goes to shit, and then they didn't even realize what mental health was. They were just trying to figure out life and they had no guidance. And then by the time that they get old enough and they figure it out on their own, it's like they have to basically build the puzzle from that point. Yeah.
So that brings up two big things, right? It brings up is it the gamification of technology that creates those dopamine hits, or is it the fear of missing out? Is it essentially FOMO? If you could choose one, thinking that it would slow down this like path that we're headed to, where it's almost like virtual reality is the only reality, which one would you attack first? Like if you felt like you needed to create an intervention.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think before that, you have to look at how available it is. Like a 4-year-old kid gets an iPad and they can do like, dude, I wasn't allowed to use the internet because my parents didn't understand it. Now a 4-year-old kid, I walked into my
This
cousin's
man's
house.
fucking hacking the fucking presidential.
Yeah, my little cousin's playing Fortnite. He's like 9 years old. He's like, oh, I built this PC. This thing does this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, these aren't even words of understanding, but they're literally just.
But is that a bad thing?
It's the way you look. It's the way you look at it. It's like, is it bad because you're giving kids access to something that the people that are giving it to them don't even understand? So it's like they're only gonna abuse it. It's like if you show a kid what porn is before he's ready to understand like what sex is. It's like if I saw porn when I was in like second grade, I would be traumatized because I would have just been like,
your expectations would have been.
Oh my God, yeah, it would have been
right?
ruining my life. And it's the same thing. We have no like I guess it's like a regulator on like how kids consume anything.
Wow.
You just
The
have
flip side of
So censorship. Speaking of censorship, go ahead.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
no, I'll stop. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's just-
I was gonna go completely off topic.
It's just that the flip side of that is like, if that 9-year-old kid isn't learning how to code, isn't learning how to put PCs together, isn't learning how to play around with those things, he's behind.
You become
He gets
valueless,
to he gets to elementary school, and
Well,
all the
I
kids
know.
around him know how to do those things, and
we
he
can't
can't
control
do
it.
it.
We can't
Exactly. It's the whole
Those are
argument
the
of,
most
like,
valuable skills in
Yeah.
our society, in our
Yeah.
economy. Those are the jobs that make money. Like, does that put him at a disadvantage by trying to protect people?
It's crazy, yeah, because you're completely right. Because if you it's like the whole thing. Do you get your kid a cell phone even though you don't think it's right, but everyone else has one? So if your kid doesn't have one, he's gonna get bullied for it. Like, it literally just goes back to that. I don't know, dude. If you don't, when you're young and you don't understand the world or yourself or your feelings or how to comprehend anything, like, you're just kind of absorbing everything. It just leads to like a time bomb in my opinion, because you never learn how to manage things day by day, because you're moving at such a quick pace. And like you said, every 2 years technology advances, you're always on the new thing, and then by the time you're fucking 23, 24 years old, you think that, like, you want to settle down, have a family, you don't even love yourself anymore, and like you feel like you're depressed and like there's nothing to look forward to. I don't know, it just seems like mental health is like so undervalued. And
Is that even something
Broken.
like you think we could strive for? Like, I don't even know if, like, is there a right way to deal with emotions? Like, speaking of the whole mental thing, like, is there really, like, we could educate, right? But is there a right way to deal with emotions, or are emotions meant to be figured out for each his own kind of thing, and that's kind of part of life, and that's part of the process? Or is there a right way to deal with emotions? Because I don't know. I don't know that even being older, I really know how to deal with emotions, or why I have emotions, or why I'm feeling the way I feel.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think there's a wrong way to deal with emotions? Because I think
if I think there's a wrong, there has to be a right. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, like, you can't, because I don't think you can ever say there isn't, like, any way you deal with emotions is right, because someone could deal with their emotions in a way that, they hurt someone, like,
Right.
with like that thing that happened in Georgia, right? Like, where that guy went and killed a whole bunch of people in, like, those Asian massage parlors, and he was, like, blaming, like, sex addiction and stuff like that, and it's like, no, you were just being a racist asshole killing Asians. That's what you were doing. So, like, if he was dealing with it in that way, one would say that's wrong. But then how else, but he could have dealt it another way, like maybe going to therapy, but maybe therapy didn't work. So I guess the real question is there a wrong way to do it? And if you can figure out a wrong way to do it, and at least to me, it seems as though if you're dealing with something and in the act of dealing with that thing, you end up hurting people, like, whether it's emotionally or physically, but hurting them, I think that's probably the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, I think anything outside of yourself, if it's affected, like, that's a wrong way of approaching emotions. But I don't necessarily.
At the same time, you're not supposed to hold your emotions in. So, like,
right, but
how
that's
do you
the
outwardly
issue, though.
express
Like,
them?
think of it. If you guys saw the Joker, I sympathize, and I agree with that actually a lot. Is like, take the perspective of that guy. Like, how many opportunities do you think he had to really express himself for the way he, just on, not in a violent way, like, just say, hey, I kind of feel like beating motherfuckers up, or I feel like killing someone. Like, is there a platform for him to do that? Not even a platform, but even like human to human interaction, like daily lives. Like, where does he go to do that? So that shit gets built up, and then it leads to the only way he knows how to express. Violence is probably.
Yeah, but I feel like if you're talking about the Joker, I don't think he wanted to be violent, but he felt like there was no other
Isolated.
way.
Exactly.
Yeah, he felt.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
But that doesn't mean he had to deal with it in a violent manner.
Dude, there's only so much. Like, imagine not being understood your entire life, not being able to express yourself in any format. I feel I still don't necessarily. I hold thoughts in, and I sometimes get frustrated that I can't necessarily always feel myself. And I'm surrounded by great people, but, like, think of someone who's isolated completely and told you're thinking wrong because you have this thought. That's the wrong way to think. You shouldn't think about hurting people. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And then all of his thoughts are kind of compromising or going against these set in stone ideas. Like, think about not being able to really ever express yourself. I would go mad myself. Like, That's a guarantee. That's the outcome. That's the formula to fucking massacres. It's that we
I
have
also
to.
think I also think that's like what's happening more and more, right? I think as you and whatever, as we continue to consistently work constantly, like we all work a 9 to 5, you don't allow yourself for any form of like individual expression or self-expression, and that's why I think you also see, amongst other things, I'm not saying it's the only thing, but I think a big part of that is just like not allowing people the opportunity to have self-expression because you're constantly worried about whatever job, money, etc. So as a result, I think a lot of people spend a lot of their time, their day-to-day, not for themselves but for someone else, and as a result don't know how to deal with their emotions when they do have the opportunity to do it. It's like when you have free time, the first,
Yeah, the
well,
last
I
thing
can
you want
speak
to
for
do.
myself. Yeah, the next two things you're thinking about are, fuck, I should be doing something else, or it's, god damn, like I can't even enjoy this break because I know something else is coming up soon. Like it's you're in this perpetual cycle where you're never
Ooh.
allowed to kind of like express yourself, and that's a
So
scary
this is
place that we're
interesting.
all kind of headed.
This is interesting. That going back to the whole virtual reality thing, do you think it's a good thing that we're going to have a platform to be able to like kind of express ourselves in a crazy way, in a way that we have never been able to do before? Does our mental health benefit in that context?
I think that before you can expand the experience, you need to be able to handle it on an individual level. Like if you can't self-regulate your emotions in the real world and you don't know how to express yourself in a safe and realistic manner, why do you think allowing that same person to also fly in VR is going to equivocate to positivity?
I mean, I think not being like going back to the violent thing, I think it's led up to that point, but I don't think that's the only way they've expressed themselves. Like, I just think it's led to that point. I think like if they had opportunities before that to express, and if it's virtual, fuck.
Yeah, but dude, then you're just opening it up to like, okay, so it's like literally like the gaming thing. Like everyone's playing Halo 3 and everyone's being super racist and saying super fucked up shit. And what are we just supposed to just completely eliminate that behavior because that guy's just expressing himself, getting out his anger because he got killed in the game? Like he's not like that. It's an excuse.
I
I
mean,
think you have to
it's not
look
an
at the
excuse
people.
though. I think like we have the opportunity to be able to look at that and say, all right, we understand what that is. You know, it doesn't. It's not right, but it's not. It shouldn't affect someone as much because we come from a perspective like I understand that's not. That's just him projecting a form of expression. Like we shouldn't take it word for word because we're able to understand that.
Okay, so Gabe, you're basically saying, just so I understand, you're basically saying that people should be able to express themselves in whatever way without any consequences, but like in a safe way. Is that what you're basically saying? So basically, like in like VR, you're able to express yourself in any way with, because obviously in VR it's not, actual reality. So you're not hurting, you're not physically hurting people. So like it's okay to blow off steam
I
in
don't
that
think it's
world.
okay. I'm just saying with VR, I think it allows for more opportunity growing up expressing yourself.
I
So
disagree,
I
dude,
don't know if
because
anger would be the byproduct of that. If you're able to freely express yourself, I don't know. I think there actually be less anger and less hatred.
but
Hatred
I
in some way.
disagree because you have to remember behind that VR wall of people that are interacting on the internet, you're actually still talking to a regular human. So it's
I'm
like,
talking to the point
if
where
you,
it's like our world's VR.
yeah,
Like
but
there's no
that,
reality
but
except
again,
VR.
that's fine. But if the dude is still talking to someone that's a real person. So like, if he's still saying racist shit to someone that you can't say that stuff to in the real world, if you're murdering someone on a game because you want to murder someone, like I get that it's not real murder, but your intention is to actually do that. It's like it just creates. I don't think that's a. I think people have to be held accountable for themselves, and people need to take ownership of like their mental health and realize why. Not put the blame on everybody else. If you're upset and you're
Yeah,
depressed,
but dude,
I feel like
that's where I think we have to take accountability in some way. Like again, going back to that, like yes, what they say isn't right. It's not. It's not. Hatred isn't a good thing to do. But we're in a position. There's if we continually have a back and forth in opposing forces, you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong, where does that lead? It doesn't lead anywhere. Someone has to understand the other side. Someone has to
But
find
you,
compassion for the other side.
but you don't. That's not what you find. That's not where, in my opinion, you don't find compassion in stuff that's full of hate. Like you don't justify that stuff because it makes them feel better about themselves. They have to take accountability.
I'm not saying it's good, but I'm just saying the way you
But
react to
You're
these
just saying
things.
you're trying to understand. Like you have to find a way to understand them, like not to be compassionate, but to understand maybe why they're acting that way
So
and
yeah,
try to
if
figure out,
you say
right?
knew their backstory and you could be like, I could understand why he's expressing in that manner. Like I don't
Right.
necessarily
That doesn't mean
agree
it's
with what he's
okay.
saying
Yeah.
or what he's doing, but I can now understand that. Let me fuck the surface level exactly what he's saying. Let me now try to connect with this guy on a
And dig
different level and
deeper.
try. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how
yeah.
I feel change comes about. I don't think
So
having
yeah.
opposing conversation is really.
But what you're saying is then just educate people more. You're just telling people to be more
Yeah.
educated. That's all you're saying is you're just saying, oh, okay, and because you're more intelligent and you don't have those same feelings as that person, you have to teach that person how to feel the way you feel to understand why what he's doing is wrong. That's basically what you're saying.
I'm not saying teach people. Like I don't necessarily know there's a right or wrong, but there's like
Well, then what's the point of trying to understand them then?
Yeah, because
Like,
if you don't have,
because you're trying to, because like, right, like you're saying, don't try to just tell them that they're wrong, right? You're trying to
right.
understand them, so you try to understand them, but like to what end?
Mm.
Because like if you're just trying to understand, all right, like so, like I understand why you're acting like that. What do I do with that understanding? Like, is there a purpose to that, or
Right.
you know what I mean? Like there has to be some sort of goal. Because if there's no purpose to it, then what's the point of me even trying to understand why that person's acting
yeah,
that way they
just,
are, or thinking the way that they do?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you're
guess
just
it's
supposed
just
to.
like changing just changing that interaction. I think would be. I just think like that comes from lack of love for themselves, lack of love being given to them or whatever, and that's just
And
a
that and
form of
that
that.
and that and that to me goes back to them being accountable for that. They have to accept the things that are hurtful
Todd,
to them in
but
their
you
own mind.
can't look at this. You think you have a hold on reality. You just because a lot of people agree with what you're thinking, you think your ideas are right, not because they're right, but because a lot of people agree with your ideas. They think their ideas are right for whatever their environment is approving of what is right. So you're no more right than them. It's not a matter of that. It's not.
Agreed.
It's not
But
holding
agreed.
yourself accountable to ideas you don't necessarily agree with.
Okay, I
That doesn't make
understand.
sense. That's the whole frustration. Is
I
that
understand.
I
I
have
understand that
thoughts
there's
and no one fucking like no one agrees with this and I feel left out. I'm having
so
crazy ass thoughts.
so
But
understanding.
Gabe, sorry, go ahead, Todd.
No, you
No,
do
sorry,
that.
go ahead. Well, I think what Todd is trying to say though is that everything you're saying, Gabe, I understand it, and I kind of agree with you. But at the end of the day, like people still should be accountable for their actions. Like just because something is against you doesn't mean that you're allowed to just do whatever you want. I know that's not what you're saying, but at the end of the day, people should still be accountable for their actions. So if someone, for whatever reason, rightly or wrongly, they're treated in such a terrible way that it like they lose it and they act out in a way where they end up hurting people. That's terrible that happened to them, but it's also terrible that but they also cause destruction from their lack of control. And again, I'm not saying that it's easy to do because it's not. A lot of people struggle with that, but like you're still accountable for your actions. Like no one is controlling you. You know what I mean? Like you're still your own person, right?
Absolutely.
So like you should still be responsible for those actions. I think that's what you're trying to say,
I
right,
just
Todd?
think
Or
like
Yeah.
the
And
focus
also,
one focus is more helpful than the other. I think if anything I
No,
should hold
because-
myself
because-
more accountable than they should. That's
Because what you're-
it sounds
what you're-
crazy.
But what you're doing is you're taking away someone's freedom to react or like how something makes someone else feel. Like if someone says something fucked up to me, I either have the option to be like, wow, okay, let me understand why this person feels this way and is saying this hurtful stuff, or I can have the freedom to react and be like, dude, I don't even need to address this person, care about this person. This person doesn't agree with me. Forget him. Why do I even need to entertain what he has to hear, what he has to say? I'll never agree with this person. I can't help this person understand my point of view. There's
That's
no point
the
to
thing.
even
That's
engage.
surface level. You're thinking of point of views. You're thinking about getting your message across against his message. That's not what I'm saying, though. It's not a matter of getting your idea across. It's not a matter of that.
So then why are we even talking to each other to begin with? Why are we even conversing to begin with? I'm just supposed to absorb hatred because they're in a position of depression and they're in a place.
Wait, let me say
suffer?
this. I think what he's trying to say is that the onus should be able, you should be able to look past that vitriol moment to better understand why, to understand what's the root cause of that, to then be able to articulate to them and get to a point where you guys can come to some form of understanding. Is that what you're saying? Like, yes, he hates you, but why does he hate you? What's the underlying reason why he doesn't agree with that point of view?
So I think education. That's literally, it just goes right back.
Well, I think what you guys are both arguing as if there isn't one, as if it's only one this way or it's only that way, which is kind of funny because that's exactly the opposite of what you're trying to say, Gabe. But the truth of it is that there should be accountability from both parties. There should be a certain level of accountability where I should understand that obviously he's not racist because he was born racist and there's an underlying reason why that may be the root of that. But at the same time, it's not always everyone else's job to be able to say, like, let me take the emotional capacity to be able to deal with your problems despite my problems that are going on. And sometimes people don't want to deal with that. And is that the right thing to do? Absolutely not. And I'm with you. I think if more people felt the need to try and understand people, not just on their surface level, then we would be at a place where we could come to commonality more often. But it's also just as important to that individual understands how his point of views and should be doing the same thing to other people. So if he's doing that same thing, then he should also be able to come to understand with me without me having to put in any form of emotional intelligence. I think the problem that it comes is that I think you're right, Gabe. We're at a place, at a standstill where everyone's not having a conversation with one another. Everyone is kind of like, well, you don't agree with me, so fuck you, and you don't agree with me, so fuck you. When in reality, these two people probably have so much more in common than they recognize because they're so focused on that one conversational point that they don't agree on. If you're right, if we spend more time to really understand the real reason why those things happen and why they may not agree with us, we probably would come to way more understanding, way more commonalities, way more progress because we would work more collectively. And that's kind of the end goal. Like, that's what we're all trying to strive for. But it's so much easier said than done because, fuck, that means you've got to be at any time ready to be able to deal with someone's, shit. And truthfully, you don't always want to deal with other people's shit.
Amen to that. 100%. I think,
Because, I mean, that sorry, go on, guys.
No, go ahead.
I mean, because, honestly, it can get exhausting always trying to understand somebody and then not educate them, but come to an understanding with them. Because, let's go back to the example that Ty was talking about, right? Like, if someone is always being an asshole to you, or if people in general are always being an asshole to you and you don't know why, and you always put out the effort to try to understand why they're doing that and come to understanding, that builds up, right? Like, you could, someone can only take that so much before it's just what's the point? Because you've had to talk to so many people who are being racist to you, or who are being sexist to you, or who are being transphobic, or whatever it may be at you. And then it just gets to a point where it's just look, I just want to live my life, and I don't need all your judgment and all your bigotry. I don't need that. So fuck you. You know what I mean? So what you're saying, I agree with it. And it's something to strive for. But like Hassan said too, it's something, it's harder said, it's easier said than done. It's a very, very hard thing to do because that can be emotionally and mentally very, very sapping after however many times.
So
you can get jaded from that.
So the way I kind of see things is I don't necessarily, I don't see it as trying to understand someone. I kind of see it as, I know if you're showing me hatred for me literally not doing anything, the reason is because you don't love yourself. It's not, you don't have to I don't have to try to understand anything. I already feel I understand. I don't feel like you have to convince me of anything. So I'm coming from a perspective not necessarily going out of my way to help you, but I'm not offended by what you're saying. I'm not taking it word for word because it's coming from a different place.
But everyone doesn't have that same level of emotional intelligence. And you have to understand that in itself is something that you have that other people may not. and you can recognize that within the world in which you live in. If everyone thought that way, then we wouldn't have those issues. But
Right.
That's
I
a
mean,
high emotional intelligence that we've all learned as we've grown up, and that's something I think that we value within our friendships and our relationships. But that's not the majority.
But even in a simpler sense, like if everybody probably in the world can look at their relationships in their own lives, like your parents, you don't always have to, you don't understand how your parents parent you. You don't understand how they feel. You don't really like take the time to think about, oh, they're doing this for that reason. You kind of just feel your own way, especially with your parents, and you do what you think is right. And people are constantly arguing with their mom and dad. They don't want to take the guidance or the lessons from them. They think that they know what's best for them, and they'll constantly combat that. So to try to do it to a complete stranger, people don't even respect the people that like gave birth to them, put them on the planet. Like, how can you expect someone to have someone be racist towards them and then just be like, you know what, I'm going to be the bigger person here. I'm going to have the emotional intelligence to sit down, understand this person, and then have sympathy for that. What's the point?
Right.
What I'll say is you'd be surprised. Like, I can say that I've had conversations not just about race, but like, let's just say there's a topic that people and I'm talking with someone who doesn't agree with me and is like being very visceral and very passionate about like the reason why they're upset about or don't agree with me. 9 times out of 10, the reason comes down to like a misunderstanding or a perspective that they gain based on their life experience.
Absolutely.
And all you have to do is provide a different perspective. And I think, which is high emotional intelligence and very emotionally exhausting, what you have to do is you have to meet at a level that's calm, cool, and collective to be able to say, this is why this is happening. I recognize that, but this is what you're missing from that. What you're saying isn't wrong.
Right.
What you're saying is just missing this alternative perspective. Have you ever looked at it from these people's viewpoint? And like, that's tiring. It's exhausting.
Right. But that's where the work is. That's what, like, us knowing that and us knowing the influence of how we can lead conversations is like, that's our responsibility because we're aware of that, right? It's not necessarily fun, but we have to hold ourselves accountable, right? I think.
Let me ask you guys this. Sorry, go on.
No. I'm just saying, I think this is also what happens. This is like equivalent to a martyrdom where it's like, let's just use like a Martin Luther King Jr. Like, you spend your entire life preaching this one thing over and over and over again. You go home, you're unhappy. It's a lot. It's so emotionally, you're giving your all to this one thing that when you go home, you have nothing left to give. And there's still people who need things from you. Family, friends, etc. Like, you still have to live this life, and then you end up giving your whole life to this one cause and you never get to see or it come to fruition.
I think the most important thing I think would come from this. I just think it's the how someone's opinion affects you. That's all I think that should be worked on. Like, how you feeling obligated to even say something back, you know? So you don't feel like you need to emotionally drain yourself. It's just how you interpretate that data. I'm not necessarily, and if anyone has ever offended me, I don't necessarily always feel the need to offend them back. It's okay. You feel that way. You don't always have to be obligated to, but just not feeling offended or not feeling because you understand. Like, I'm not saying you have to convince, you have to have a conversation every time. It's just how you interpret that. That's all.
I get that.
So a lot of what we're saying to when it comes to like understanding and, you know, educating, a lot of this hinges on the other person willing to understand. Do you think that most people are willing to understand? Like, or are there like, I mean, like, obviously there's always going to be people who don't care. They're like, you know, this is my view. I don't care. I don't want to change it. I'm comfortable with my view. Like, I get that. But generally, like, do you think people are open-minded enough to listen to others and be willing to take what they say on board and sympathize and empathize with them and be willing to, if not change their mind, but again, like we're saying, try to understand the other person's point of view?
I think it depends. I think it depends
Sorry,
who's speaking. I think it depends who's speaking to them. Do they respect the person? Do they have some type of status? Do they listen? Like, are they willing to open their mind to listen to other people? But is it a celebrity that's saying it? Is it someone that they respect, like outside of just like a back and forth conversation? I think whoever is giving them the message matters.
But if someone is being a bigot toward you, right, they don't respect you.
Exactly. So they're not going to listen to you.
Right,
they're not going to want to hear your perspective.
But then does that mean you don't
That's
try?
I don't think that's true at all. Actually,
Because I don't know if it just comes down to disrespect. Because even like Hassan's saying, like they may not have thought about it the other way. So it sounds like it's more, thought about it from another perspective. So it sounds like it's more ignorance. Like like I said, there are going to be people who disrespect you, but I think there are always going to be people like that. And I don't think they're part of the majority, but I think a majority of people are ignorant. I mean, I'm even going to say like I'm ignorant on certain issues, right? So like there are going to be people who are ignorant on things, but do you think that is it just ignorance or is it something else? Like, is it ignorance, disrespect? Is it something in between? Is it something else? Like,
I think it's like, I think it's sometimes it's like intentional. Just people identify with it, so they'll hold on. That's their goddamn identity. They'll hold on their own and just defend it for whatever reason. But like, I genuinely think it comes down to how you approach the situation. If you approach the manner in I'm offended, I'm gonna say whatever. Like, they're gonna take that energy back. I think a lot of people, you'd be surprised that you could have a decent conversation with, depending on how you approach it and how you speak to them. It's not a matter of changing their mind, but I think in some way you could get them to listen. And
Right.
that
I've had conversations with people who are fully racist, like completely racist.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I've had legitimate conversations with them where I don't necessarily feel as though I've changed their perspective, but I think that they walk away viewing a differing viewpoint.
Exactly.
And
that's the most important.
But it's 100%. I'm not, and that's not my goal. My goal isn't to like make you feel the same way or as emblazoned or as passionate as I am. My goal is just for you to be able to say like, okay, I didn't see it that way. Like, I didn't even think about it in that manner. Do I then expect their entire behaviors to change? Fuck no. But like, it's just kind of like placing the seeds as you go along and recognizing it.
Well, what's really important though when you do that is like, some people don't even realize there's another form of like conversation. Like they don't even realize that they could actually have a conversation. Like, you could say something and not get angry, and I could say something and you don't have to get angry. Like, just introducing them to a new way of just expressing that dialogue is insane. Just doing that alone is super impactful.
And what you guys are speaking to is like education, and like really educating someone is really just like providing a perspective that they're not accustomed to. And that's not something that's always easy to do, because sometimes perspective requires geographic change. It requires like getting out of basically your comfort zone, because what you're used to and what's usually around you that's your perspective, and you don't see anything outside of that. That's the part that's the hardest part, is being able to infiltrate the comfort level of like what you're used to, and being able to say like, oh snap, that's also another thing, and being able to see a bigger painting versus than just a portion of a painting. That's not always something that you can do just on an individual level.
It's
sometimes
very hard,
sometimes you have
factors.
like
100%. I'll even say like so I hop from groups. My fellow white lads, my friends. I think you might know. Todd, you know who I'm speaking of.
Maybe, yeah.
So even in that, I see kind of that dynamic, where it's like they just don't talk about that stuff. It's not cool to talk about that. It's not like, that's just not. So they don't even want to like. They're not going to bring it up because they're going to
so
be
scared. Yeah,
they're going to be ratted out, and they don't care. It's not affecting them enough for them to be like, you know what, fuck all my friends and people that allow me to be me, to throw that away. Like, I see that, right in front of my eyes. Like, it's crazy. But what's crazier is,
but it's not fucked up for them, because it's not like they're bad people. It's just that they're they're in an environment
I get it.
that
like,
doesn't allow for.
Yeah, no, I 100% get that. I get that, but there's so
But
many.
I can only do so much rationalization before there's also work for them to do as individuals, which I think is what you guys were Kofa and Gabe or Toppers.
No, yeah,
as well.
education just I think just exposure is like just not a lot like having that exposure for everyone. You know, not having the ability to people to seclude themselves in their groups and basically live their own lives outside of a world everywhere else.
But don't get it twisted. Those niggas can always catch the fade.
Speaking of it,
Need one.
Fade is one of the greatest songs ever made.
fade by who?
Fade, Kanye.
Kanye's life just makes me sad. Like the whole thing. It's just, man, that guy.
Crazy because you can
like,
see it coming, dude. You
Yeah.
see it coming. You knew it. You
like
knew how it
yes,
played
he's
out.
rich and all that stuff, but like it's not even about that. It's just like, bro, like there's just so much. It's a lot. It's a lot.
How so? Wait,
It's a
how
lot.
so? What's your perspective on it?
I mean, like all the stuff that's gone on with it. I mean, like think about it, right? Like when he came out, like initially, like coming out with like Gold Digger and all that stuff. He's like a young, aspiring rapper, all that stuff, you know. And then like he has like mental health issues. He has to go to therapy and all that stuff. Again, like people go through that's not bad or anything like that. But like he's had to go through that multiple times, and then he gets married to the Kardashians. And I'm not trying to be a hater or anything, but to me, the whole Kardashian thing is just like
They
it's just
keep letting people-
exhausting. Like I just
Let's
feel
call
like
it what
I
it
just
is.
feel like I don't know. Like I just feel like they're not like yes, like they show us their lives, but like that shit is not genuine to me.
They're
And it's
slushy
just
black
for
men.
the-
Yeah,
Eat
yeah,
black men,
that too.
feed
Like
on
straight up,
them,
straight
and then
up,
spit them the fuck out,
vampires.
dude.
like they're basically like Get Out, but it's okay. Like literally, like their lives, like they just use Get Out as like their premises, but like they're
Bruh,
doing it in
the
a
news
way
is
where
just
it's not
like-
like creepy because they're not taking over black people's bodies. That's honestly the only thing it is. They're just fucking them.
They're
But
pretty much
like,
taking over black people's
yeah,
bodies.
but like I don't know. And then like now like they're getting divorced and all that stuff. And again, I'm not saying that's I don't like I don't know who wanted it. I don't know like the whole details of all of it. But just the whole thing, it's kind of like it just seems like such like a I don't know. It just seems like life just like shoot him up and spat him out. And again, I'm not like
Yeah.
sad for him because like he's fine. Like he's still gonna be fine. Again, monetarily, but like just mentally, like he had not issues, but he was going through stuff before. You know,
Ever
what I mean?
since his
Before he
mom-
met her.
Ever
Yeah,
since
ever
his mom
since-
passed.
yeah, exactly.
when his
You
mom
know what I
passed
mean?
away.
And then not even just that, but like the whole stuff with Trump. And I'm not saying, you know, black people shouldn't support Trump. Well, no, I am saying that. Black people shouldn't support Trump. But like even that too, I'm just like, bro, like, do you not see how like you're just making decisions that to at least from outside looking in, just make zero sense. Like I just don't understand it basically.
Do
But
you
it just
guys-
seems like
do
a
you-
wild
Do you guys believe that whole thing where like Kanye says like, "Oh no, I was playing him. I just wanted to actually have a conversation, so I just acted
Oh,
like
he
I was
said that?
support." Yeah, like I heard a story where he was just like, "Oh, I actually just pretended I was all on board for Trump, and just so like he would actually have a meeting with me, and so like he would like, all that was like all for the actual like to get in the room with him."
Yo,
And, like-
I love Kanye. Like I think everything he does is genius.
Bro, I love his music. I love his music.
beyond
but,
his
I
music.
mean, like I can separate those things. Like I can like your
Yeah.
music and still have questions about who you are as a person or your character. I'm not gonna front. Like I like Michael Jackson. Like I like R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly. But like R. Kelly's a fucking creep. Like that guy is disgusting, right? But
Yeah.
like those two things can
No, yeah.
coexist. You know what I mean? So
I think,
like-
if anything, I think I appreciate Kanye as a human more than I do his music.
But like, do you know Kanye though? Like, I mean, because I'm not.
From
gonna
what I
front
know.
like,
You don't
Yeah, from what I know,
appreciate
from
him
what
as
I
a
know,
human.
from what I know,
You
from what I know.
you appreciate his way of thinking, which is different than him as a human.
I think, yeah, I just like maybe it's like me projecting what I would like to be or whatever, but I think it's like just the way he just does what he wants. It's the
he
freedom of
seems-
speech. That's
he
true
seems-
freedom
yeah.
of speech. It's like that's what emotions are. Sometimes we're erratic. Like sometimes he's fucking like I wouldn't put a label on that and call that crazy. Like just
He just
being
seems
able to
vulnerable.
express your way and do it to its fullest extent, not being afraid because someone's saying you shouldn't be getting angry like this or you shouldn't do that. Like that's expression.
what if he
to
said
me.
that? people have.
Well, just like him, like how he gets angry sometimes, and then he talks. Just even like in simple conversations that I watched interviews with him and
Okay.
stuff
But
like that.
yeah, but he doesn't really get criticized a lot for like those interviews. He mostly gets criticized when he says things that literally don't make any sense and come out of left field. Like when he said slavery was a choice. Now there's a whole thing where like the context
Yeah,
of what he
what was
saying.
it? He said what?
He said slavery is a choice, like was a choice.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And like
yeah.
if you like
There's
look
a
at
bigger
it,
conversation there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is big. No, yeah.
But
I
it's
don't-
also are you giving Kanye more credit than he deserves, or is that like really
exactly, yeah. I think Gabe appreciates his ability to seem very vulnerable. I think like that's the biggest thing. Like,
I
because
don't.
he seems on the surface when you see him speak, he seems like he's being his true self, who he is or who he wants to be, and he has no like there's no limitations to what is gonna come out of his mouth or how he feels. It's just gonna come out of him. But we don't even know this guy for real, like who he is like with his kids, like who he is like day to day, how he is with people, like, we have no idea.
I mean, all we know is what he's kind of displayed or what we could see on TV, and what he's displayed is like, he says sometimes some things that might sound crazy. I think sometimes have some validity behind them. But yeah, just like being able to, I think that's the whole point though, is like we should be able to kind of expressing that to me, like words shouldn't hold the value necessarily we hold them to sometimes.
Why not? Like how else do you know what someone means if you don't listen to them?
That's true. I guess
Right,
going
because
back to
the
like,
only way you can judge someone is how they act and what they say, right? So
this goes right back to what we were just talking about, because it's like who the person is. It's like what's their intention of speaking? What's their perspective? Why are they saying what they're saying? It's all the same thing. It's like
right, and that's what I'm saying. For me, like I can't judge Kanye as a person because I don't know him, and even the things that I've seen, like those are just little snippets, right? Like you're saying, I don't know why he's saying this thing. I don't even care enough to like go and like watch the whole interview to get context about like, oh, the whole slavery thing is a choice. Like I know he said that. And I was like, damn, that seems kind of messed up. But I was like, whatever, Kanye says shit. So like, I was like, whatever, it is what it is. I don't care. It's not like it's not like what Kanye says is like, the gospel. So it doesn't matter to me. He said whatever he said. It is what it is. But like, I'm not gonna pretend like I know Kanye. So even from all those things he said, I can kind of form an opinion. But it doesn't really matter because I still don't know the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he hasn't done anything action-wise where I can concretely judge his character, right? Like I may not like the Kardashians, but him marrying Kim doesn't mean like he has a bad character. It just means he wanted to marry Kim. That's all that means.
Yeah,
that's true.
The biggest lesson that, and ever, like I'm a big Kanye proponent, but the biggest lesson and the biggest thing that I've ever learned from Kanye West is that at the end of the day, celebrities are just people, and we should not hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Just normal people, and we shouldn't like treat them as if they're like entities beyond human existence. They're all human, and some may be better at certain things than others, but that doesn't mean that I have to fucking praise the fucking floor that he walks on. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've like gained from Kanye, is that I'm no longer feel as though celebrities do things that us normal people can't. Like we're all capable of doing the things that Kanye is able to do. Like I just think the dude doesn't articulate himself well, and I think that's on him, but it's also on us on how we take it, how we decide to take it, and how much ownership or onus we give to what he has to say. Because just because he's a famous person doesn't mean what he says is super valuable. It's like you are allowed to just recognize this is also a man who's been going through serious mental health issues and hasn't been helping and hasn't gotten them addressed completely. And you can recognize it as that, or you can say this is just a man who's saying things that are on his mind and that he cares about in this moment, and you can accept that for what it is. But it's not on us to be able to, it's not for us to say like, well, what Kanye said goes. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. So question for you guys: when you guys were younger, like when you guys were kids and stuff, were there like celebrities that you guys like looked up to and like had like as role models and stuff like that?
Yeah,
Bryant,
dude.
of course. Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Peyton Manning. Yeah.
I don't know.
But when I say
I don't
role
think so.
model, I don't mean just like, oh, like a famous person that like I like. I mean like straight up like, you know, like you like hung on to their
Wanted
not
to
every
be them,
word, but
wanted
like
to
you
be like,
yeah, like you know what I mean? Like you like generally like what they said was important to you.
right.
You try to emulate them. Again, not in terms of like being like a football player, basketball player,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but like you know what I mean? Like to that extent.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
okay.
I don't think I
yeah.
ever have.
Get out of here, bro. You try to be messy every time you're on the field.
But not as a personal level. Like, I love to see him play, and I would love to play like him. But like beyond that, like, I don't give a fuck what he says. I don't care what he does. Kind of, but I don't try to be him or mimic him beyond
Yeah,
the soccer
I
field.
feel like for me was like the probably the person I ever did that the most with was Kobe, and it was more admiration and like appreciation than like I never tried to be the best basketball player because Kobe Bryant was like I just knew I didn't have it in me to be it. But like I don't know when I would hear him in interviews and speak on like things, I would care about how he felt about certain things. Maybe not like political things, but like, you know, how he dealt with relationships, how he dealt with people in the locker room, like how he had like a mentality of like, you know, I don't view competition, I don't see opponents, like I don't care what people have to say about me, like that kind of thing, and like the importance of work ethic
Mhm.
was something that I appreciated from him. But I didn't like if he came out and said like, oh, I support this fucking political candidate, that wouldn't make me go like I didn't look at it that way. I think it was more of like
Yeah.
You know, I was just curious because like I never really had that growing up. So I was just and I know people did, but I just wasn't sure like to what extent it was. Because like for me, like the closest person that I really liked would be Cristiano Ronaldo, but like I would never want to meet him. Like just in general, like it's like all right, cool. Like you play soccer, like that's it. I don't need to know who you are as a person.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about that. Like you're good at what you do, that's great. But you know, you can keep doing that, and I'll live my life. I don't need to know you as a person or know about your character because I don't know. I didn't really care about that in general.
That's fair.
In middle school, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, and I like legit spent most of my time trying to emulate that man, truthfully. And like that was like a massive role model for me. But it was also just like as you get older, you recognize that like even these great people have faults as well and whatever. But like yeah, no, like I've had role models, like people that I've emulated certain portions of my life directly from. But like as I've gotten older, I've recognized like, these are just people, and everything that they have done, I'm also capable of. Not saying that I didn't think that I could before, but just like trying to take a step back and not hold them on a pedestal.
I think what you're saying is on makes a lot of sense, and I think that for me, if I look at my own life, I think that's what when I look at my parents when I was younger, I would view my parents as like, oh, these people are like super incredible people, like. And then when I got older and I saw the like cracks in their relationship, and I started to see them less as like these people that I held like, oh, these are my parents, I love them, they're amazing, and I start seeing them for like, oh, they have more in common like me, and I can see that like it's more of like the glass shatters, and all of a sudden you like realize, oh, my dad is
your dad's not a superhero.
God.
Yeah.
And my dad's just a fucking
that's
guy.
everyone's goddamn. It sucks.
But I think that's just something
role
that most people
models.
could,
That's
yeah,
what
I
a
think,
role model
So that's
is,
actually
yeah.
a good point, though, Todd. I've always made the point that like idolization is like super dangerous because it takes, I think, in some way, it strips your power back to what Hassan's saying is like, if you grow up to think that's like you have these people that are better or like in this different position and like you idolize them, so you're creating that separation. You kind of don't feel you could be that person, and that in some way strips that your power from you. But like you made the point that like your parents could be that too, and like you learn and grow from your parents. So I actually think it's dependent on how like, and Hassan, you said it too, like if you're taking characteristics and like working towards that, I think that's like a great thing. Like idolization could be super helpful in that way. Like you're kind of taking the qualities you like in other people and like achieving that for yourself. I think that's where it's like beneficial. I'm only saying that point. It's out of context, but like I think idolization, I've always said, could be dangerous because it strips power from you in the way that like just seeing someone is higher than you, blah blah blah, for the fans. Hip hip. But good point, Tom.
No, I agree with you, dude. I agree with you. And I agree with all of you. I think the very first example that we all experience and recognizing that idolization is a great asset is within our parents, because those are your first role models for most people. And recognizing that, fuck, these guys aren't superheroes. They have their faults just like everyone else. They're human beings.
Yeah. They make mistakes.
Yo,
like when you realize your parents make mistakes and you're like, oh shit.
But that's
like,
a crazy thought, is like, do our parents really have the most influence over us? Like, I would just say it's an environment thing, right? So whatever's in your environment. So if Lil Wayne's on the TV, like, is Lil Wayne as much as your parents were your parents if that was on your TV the whole time?
I get what you're saying, but yeah, that speaks to the whole like nurture versus nature thing. But yeah.
And it goes back to the kids nowadays. They come home from school and they spend 43 hours watching YouTube videos about some vlogger. Jake Paul raised half of fucking Amanda's grade. Literally, like, that's their dad. Like, the way that he lived their life is what they idolize. Like, they
100%, bro. Like, I'm not joking. Like, there's a line in the Anderson .Paak song where it's like it's Dreamers, and it's like, I was raised by the tube and the TV lunch because my mom was never home. Like, they would just prop you in front of the television after school and you'd watch it from 4 to 6 o'clock, and it was just like whatever was on television is what you watched. Like, truthfully, that raised a bunch of people too. Like, entertainment plays a vital role in like raising kids. I'm just happy I got fucking Barney and Mr. Rogers. Legit.
Defend myself. Someone bigger than me, punch him. That's it.
God.
Fade. Have you ever gotten a bad haircut? Tell the story if you have. What happened? I probably have, but I've never gotten such a bad haircut that I've felt obligated to speak up for myself.
I got a bad haircut. Back in the day, my dad used to cut our hair, and I think I was in middle school, either 8th grade or 9th grade. And my dad he bought a razor online, and he would cut our hair in the backyard of his house. And I had a wedding to go to the next day, and I needed a haircut. And my dad was like, yeah, don't worry, I'll just clean you up, whatever. And he forgot to put the guard on. Literally just went, and I literally started crying immediately. I had no hair on the side of my head. I was in like 8th or 9th grade.
Oh my god!
And I had a wedding to go to the next day.
Intentionally, there's no way you forget to put the guard on.
And that's the thing. No. Yeah, that's the thing. My dad and mom had recently got divorced. I was going to someone on my mom's side of that.
Was his fucking...
Nah, I don't think he did that because he liked my cousin that was getting married. But he literally cut my hair, and I started crying immediately. Like, no, Dad, no. I just remember freaking out. Amanda and Austin are running around the house, scared as hell because I'm like literally so sad. He calls up some guy who's like, hey, I need to bring my son. Can you like fix this? I end up getting a full-on like military haircut. Like I'm about to get shipped off to Iraq after the fucking wedding. And now, and the next day is the wedding. So now all the wedding pictures, I'm literally, literally all the wedding pictures I'm getting saluted in. I'm like, literally people are like I have all the wedding pictures.
He's an 8-year-old boy. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Oh my
god.
Drinks on me.
My dude's like, I've seen shit.
The last time.
Turn down the lights. Turn down the lights. It's too much. It's so fucking ridiculous. Yeah, dude. Once a dude who was like definitely off the Xanny bar cut my hair and like could not keep my line straight and was just like leaning on me, like his whole body was on me while I was cutting my hair, and I would periodically look in the mirror and be like, oh, it's gonna get better, and it never fucking got better, and I actually had to be like, it just kept going. Yes, I legit had to stand up and I was like, bro, stop cutting my hair right now. Like, get the fuck off of me. I'm not paying you. Get the hell away from me. You're off some shit. Like, I can't. And he was like, yo, I'm sorry. And he was like, fucking like vibed out of his mind. I had to go I had to ask someone else in that same barbershop to fix my hair. And I like sat in his chair and he was like, yo, like, you always come to me. Why did you ever go to him? I was like, I don't know. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, dude, that doesn't sound fun.
Loyalty,
How
bro.
about you,
Don't forget it.
Killmonger?
I've never had a bad haircut per se, but I do remember this one time I went to this barber. He cut my hair, but the problem wasn't their haircut. It was when my hair started going back because he pushed my hairline back too far. So when it started growing back, it just looked weird because I was getting like hair in places that you wouldn't think I would have hair if you just looked at my looked at me once I got the haircut. And I was looking at it, I'm like, yo, I look fucking stupid because I got like little hairs here and my hairline's all the way back here. Like, what's going on? Like, I can't do. So I never got, went back to that guy. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just cut my own hair. I don't even care about getting like a shape up or anything like that. I don't care. I'll just cut my own hair, just cut it low and be done with it. And it'll look the way it looks. So I was like, all right, it is what it is.
Why is consistency so hard at a barber?
Well, if you have a barber, like one barber, it's fine,
For me,
right?
no,
but like that's
no,
the thing
though,
too.
that's
Like
the
I feel
thing.
like, or is it
It's
not?
It's not. It's playing the
Oh,
card every
okay.
time. It's playing with like instead of the full 52 card deck, it's like half the deck. Barbers aren't consistent. At least I haven't had a barber that's consistent
Really?
ever.
Because that was my one thing about going to the barber. I was like, I need to find one person who's good, but I didn't want to like. I'm not out here trying to experiment with people and get bad haircuts on that journey to finding the barber that I like.
It's so
you know what I mean?
hard.
That like, yeah, it's really, really hard. So I was like, you know what? I don't feel like going through that. So, forget it.
That's
Like,
how
fuck
it
it.
be. That's
Like
how
no
it
one will
be.
cut my hair except for
I'll
me.
wait
Like,
till
fuck it.
the
I'm not doing
brink
that.
until I look homeless to get my hair cut. Then it's like fuck.
Bro, I
I'm
haven't
just
cut
going
my
in.
hair in a year.
I'm
Like,
going
I
in.
have this because I haven't cut my hair in a year. That's literally why.
It's
My
scary.
hair's like this.
We don't talk about
Yeah.
this enough. Like it's scary to go to the barber. Let's say it. Let's make it normal. It's
No,
scary
it
to
is
go to the barber.
straight up because people keep saying, "Let's go to the like." Oh, like my one of my coworkers like, "Oh, I got a barber. I'll give you his number." And I'm like, "Bruh, like you're bald. like him cutting your hair does nothing. Like I don't know if he's good or not. Like he just shaves your head. You could do that yourself. So fuck it. I don't even know if he's good or not. Like I don't want that.
It's not going to the barber. It's asking the barber for what you want. That is the
That is
simplest
the
thing.
worst question ever.
Yeah.
That is
Because
the
wording
worst,
matters.
bro.
Wording matters. How you
Yeah,
say
really-
100%.
the timing.
Yo,
You gotta use the hands. You don't use the hands, bro. Game over. Game over. Ball.
bro,
Ball baby.
I'm so scared of the follow-up question when a nigga hits me with like, yo, you want the fade, a number 2 or number 1 on the sides, number 3 on the back, number 3.5, and I look at people
And
and I'm
there's
like, I don't know
no
what any of
standard.
this
There's
is.
no
What?
standard.
I don't know what. Yeah, you're just like, yo, can you just give me that normal shape up? Nah, I need to know the
Exactly.
numbers or else I can't cut your hair.
3, 2,
I'll get
4,
up.
5. I'm
I'll
like,
go.
bruh.
And they wait until they've cut half your head off before they start
Yeah.
asking the question.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
You're
you
literally-
wanted
there's like
a
a
low
third of
fade?
your hair.
What? That's
They're
$15
like-
extra.
So the number 2, right? You said number 2 on the back. I don't know what that means. How could it be? I don't know. I don't
And
know,
then
sir.
they go, do you want it to be pointy? Do you want a square? Do you want
What was it before?
Do you want it to be
Before?
Do you want it to be
Can you
round?
write down all the things
It's
I
too
like,
hard.
please?
It's too hard. Yeah, there has to be a way to simple. On your
The key-
license, you
Holy
pass
shit.
your
The key-
license, they swipe it.
Legit.
I got you. I got you.
The
That's
key-
one
the-
job I don't mind getting taken over by robots. That's it.
the
Take
key-
it over.
The key to getting a good haircut is a reference photo. When you finally get a haircut that you like, you
Damn.
take pictures of it and you give it to the barber.
Yeah, but
and you
isn't
gotta,
that the same thing as
Bro.
like
Isn't that
I've
still
gotten a
risky,
photo
though?
off of Google and that shit still doesn't work.
no, you gotta get a good haircut and be like, okay, I like how my hair looks and I want this repeated. And then you gotta find a consistent barber that can build some type of rapport with you.
Word
You
is
can't-
bond. I've gone to
Honestly-
a barber and showed a reference photo, and he goes, "I can't do that." And I go,
But then he still takes you in the chair. Come on.
"Yeah, but no." He asks you once you're already in the chair, neck tied as hard as possible.
It's already-
You can't breathe.
You have one.
And he's like, you show him the reference photo, and he's pulling it tighter as you're asking the question. He's like, "Nah, I can't
Wait,
do that." And
Is
you're
that
like,
actually,
"Okay, so
is
let
that
me get
a
up."
business tactic? Because literally, they shave my hair, then ask me. I kid you not, that shit has happened to me before.
Well, what are you gonna do? You gotta get the haircut.
I'm like, I
Yeah, you're
I
stuck.
guess I'm getting the fucking lesbian haircut. I had my fucking whole high school experience. God damn, bro.
It's the most nerve-wracking thing, especially if the barber is friends with that. Like, no one else in the barbershop's getting a haircut, and it's just all the same
Oh
homies,
my
and they're all
god.
just
Yeah,
talking.
they're all gonna.
And everyone has like a standard way of talking, and you don't know what it is. Bro, I hate it. I hate it. Barbershops be the scariest place.
Bro,
sometimes,
it
bro.
is because
There-
that's
there
like
are
your
some
manhood.
barbers, though.
That's literally like a testament to your manhood. You got to speak up for
Yeah,
yourself when that shit
100%
goes
is.
wrong. That shit's
Yep.
There
There's
are
a
some
culture,
barbers
bro.
though who are good. Like I remember I had this one barber where he like every time like he had a hair, he cut someone's hair, he took a picture of it. So he basically had like a reference photo of like his work. So like I could just kind of be like, oh, I like this one, and just point to it, and like he would just do that, and I was like, all right, perfect. That's like that just makes it so much easier because I don't have to like, explain stuff or
Right.
anything. It's like, oh, I know what you've done, and I see that one. Cool, that one looks good.
Ooh, that's actually
Just
very
do that
smart
one
on
for
his
me.
end.
I have
But like
another
not all barbers do that though, so that's the problem.
Mm.
Yeah, I've had a story about that. One time, I was getting my haircut, and this nigga was like so gassed off his haircut that he was giving me. I hadn't seen it yet. My dude was just like, ooh, while he's cutting my hair. And then I'm just like looking forward, and he's behind me, and I hear click. And I look behind me, and he's just taking pictures of my head. And I was like, bro, do you want to have a conversation about this before you just start flicking it up of my head?
I've
He was
heard
like,
that.
nah, my barber's still so
He asked me, though.
clean.
He asked me.
No
Yeah.
permission. No permission is
None
required.
whatsoever. And then
Yeah.
worst part, I see the haircut and it's trash. I was like, why are you taking a picture
That's
of this?
the
I'm
thing,
upset.
though. One haircut doesn't. It's dude. You gotta give him credit. I guess. I don't know. I don't want to, but like giving a haircut with different shaped heads, like it changes up. You gotta adapt.
And that's why you
Everybody
need.
wants something different.
Yeah, and that's why you need to find a barber that gets
That
used
gets
to
your
head.
haircut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, but why do I have to get used to? What the fuck is this? I don't want to
Yeah.
get used to anything. The
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah, man.
I mean, yeah. I hate when they take out the straight razor, and I'm like, are they gonna fucking slit my throat by accident? Like, I get so nervous. Like, do I
You're
They
Put
start
your whole
sharpening
chair
that
back.
on this fucking stone. They just sharpen that. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh fuck. Okay.
And I'm like, dude, I didn't even ask you to touch up my beard. So like, where are you going with this thing?
Wait,
And then
Yo,
he
when
said,
they
like,
touch up Todd, when they touch up your beard and then they still charge you for like
Not
your
asking-
beard where you didn't ask them to, yeah.
no, you don't even ask.
upcharge.
They
You
know
don't
you
even
won't
ask.
say anything
Upcharge.
back. At least 80% won't say anything back, bro. That's the thing.
Bro, I
No.
had a nigga drawing in my like corners, like black spray paint and everything, and I was like, he was
Yeah,
like,
they
he
do
charged
that
me like
now.
You brought out the
$55.
airbrush,
I was like,
bro.
They
I
do
swear to
that
God,
now,
and I said,
yeah.
when did I ask for this? I was like, can I have an itemized receipt, please? Because I don't know where I asked for this. Nowhere did I say, can I also get the spray paint calligraphy in my fucking corners?
Yo,
bro?
I
Bro,
kid
your
you
name's
not.
engraved in your fucking skull.
Legit, I looked at him like, nigga, are you joking?
Don't that look
upcharge
natural?
me.
Don't that shit look natural? That's your hair.
They're literally spraying like hair fibers on
No way. Is that
on
really
your
it?
hair. That's literally what it is. Because
I
like
thought it was a
I don't
goddamn
know, I
just
had like this weird
airbrush.
obsession just like watching like barbers on YouTube, like they're like doing like haircuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like this one guy, like literally, like he'll get up like a freaking spray can, and he just starts spraying in. Like he has like, a little like guard, and just like starts spraying like on the lineup and everything like that. He's like, "Yeah, I'm spraying it with my like 2.0 hair fibers. Look at that shit, man. It's clean." And I'm like, "What are you talking
The
about?
Nimbus
You didn't ask
2000s
for
of all
that."
hair. Fucking
Like what are you doing? Like that's crazy right now. Like don't get me wrong, it looks nice, but then like it's just gonna wash out in 2 days. So what's the point?
But it
Like,
comes
what
to
is
a
the point
point
of that?
like one, you could always notice when that shit's done. It's not real. Like, would you?
Yeah, because it's too straight. It's like too many right angles. Like that's not normal.
So if you're balding, if we're balding, if you guys were balding, would you just accept your baldness, like, or are you gonna try your hardest to put things that we all know aren't real on your head?
Don't
It
put
depends.
that
Nah, I would
on me,
just shave
Ricky
it.
Bobby. Don't put that
It dep-
evil on me.
It depends if I'm like my dad, dude. My dad's like has like literally like 6 hairs that you can individually like name that stick out of his forehead, and like dude,
They fight each other in the wind.
Billy always has a temperament
Mine.
issue with
Yeah.
Delilah.
Get off of me.
but he's like, nah, man, I still got a good head of hair. I'm like, dude, it's fading, and it's fading quickly, dude. You gotta accept it. Like, just go bald.
Yeah, but
dude.
like, would you? So that's okay, like accepting your real hair. But are you gonna try to like Are you gonna try to
Nah.
put some stuff on
Like,
your
yeah,
Hair
like,
plugs and
nah,
shit
I
like
wouldn't
that?
do
Nah,
that.
I don't think so.
No.
just a
Yeah,
shaker,
when it
right?
goes, it goes, brother. When it goes,
That's
it
what
goes.
that's what I'm saying, man. God damn.
And besides, if I was going bald, Asada wants me to go bald anyway, so it's fine.
Hey,
Like,
fuck
I'll
boy,
just
look,
embrace
let's
it if
get
it
Let's
actually
get
happens.
Let's
Damn, but
get
that's
Let's
like in
get
I'll
another
just embrace it.
15, 20 years if that shit happens. So.
I mean, I hope I don't go bald. I don't think I will. Like
Not if
my
I catch him
uncle is-
sleeping.
okay, you gotta chill. But
So keep everything shit.
my uncle is bald, but like I think they said like it's like through like
Or choice.
your maternal side or something like that. So I guess like it skips, and it also skips a generation. So I think I'm fine, but like I have no idea. Like I generally don't know because my grandfather wasn't bald, and like
No,
he
I'm
was like
most certainly
70,
balding.
and he had like a full head of hair. So I was like, all right,
close.
like you're good. So like I think I'm good. Though I did go to a barber once, and he was cutting my hair. It was like this old guy, and he was like, oh. Next time you get a haircut, make sure you come to me because that way, like whoever cuts your hair, make sure they don't push your hairline back because like your hairline is receding. And I looked at him and I was like, you're fucking lying to me. I don't believe you. I'm never getting a haircut ever again. Like I literally never went back to the barber after that. I was like, nope, because I don't trust these people. You tell them, hey, just cut it along my natural hairline, and they push it back, and you're like, no, that's not what I said. I didn't tell you to do that. Like, don't do that. But I mean, I don't know.
Why are barbers allowed to insult you right to your face and you can't?
That's what I'm saying. He was only like, your hairline's receding, and I'm like, well,
That's fighting words.
Like,
I've
been looking at my hair for
They
years,
got the
and
blade
it
in
looks
their
the
hand.
same. Yeah, so like, what are you talking about? But I don't know. He could be right. He could be wrong. Only time will tell.
Damn, dude.
One last barber story. I was sitting in a chair, and there was a dude a barber who didn't have a client, and he was sitting in his chair. And I had my jeans, and they were fucking cuffed. And this nigga was looking at me the entire cut. And then, like, towards the end, he goes, yo, why are your jeans so tight? And I was like, what? He's like, why are your jeans so tight? I was like, because I like it. He's like, why you got them pulled up like they high waters? And I was like, yo, are you trying to fight me? Like, are we going to get into a gun battle? What's happening right now? Where am I? Do you want money from me or not?
40.
And it's just like I just sat there and I was like, I'm going to try and remain calm, but I'm getting more and more angry.
They take advantage of it too.
They do. It's like, yeah, you can't do anything right now. Take this. It's like, fuck.
And they'll assert their dominance with just tightening that fucking neck shit around your fucking neck, just tighter and tighter, bro.
Is that good? No, it's tight. All right.
No hair's going.
No adjustment. No adjustments.
The worst part too is like when you're all said and done, and like they line you up and everything like that. Then they get the alcohol out. Oh my god!
And they burn the shit out of you.
They burn the shit out of your head, and you're just like, why did you have to do that? Now my head is on fire.
Slap that shit on your neck, bro.
Yeah, they really do.
And they put your arms under the thing, so you can't even like you're just completely immobile. And then they cut your hair.
You're pretty much in handcuffs. You're in handcuffs. You're in a straitjacket, bro.
They cut your hair and then they like leave like 3 pieces like gently like tickling your cheek, and like I'm like fucking twitching like, dude, get this fucking shit off me, but I can't clear it up. I'm like, dude, I can't even.
It's intentional, bro. They're all just torturing us. They're having so much fun, bro.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's happened to me so many times where I'm just like, dude,
it's so clear too.
Off my face?
Like I have hair all over my face. I look like a goddamn fucking animal.
Your tongue is full with fucking hair. Yo, you good, right? You don't need anything else? Nah, nigga.
You want me to brush the back of your neck? No, my face. My entire face that's full of fucking hair, bro.
Have you guys been to the barber shops that also double as the community youth center? And it's just a bunch of fucking kids. It's like after school gets out and all the kids run to the barber shop because it's the safest place in the community. And you walk in and every fucking 5-year-old kid is like, yo, you got money for the corner store? No, get out of my face. I don't have money. Yo, do you want to play me in 2K? No, I don't want to play you in 2K. I just want to get a haircut. Please, you have to swim through the community youth center to get to your fucking barber.
Yeah,
so ridiculous, bro.
We're trying to raise money to go play baseball in Oklahoma. Can you buy 3 chocolate bars?
Yeah, legit. No, your friend already hit me before I got into the barber shop. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Gosh darn.
All right, boys. I think we did it.
I think we
did it, dude.
I think we did it. Backpack boys.
We covered all them topics. Backpack boys.
All them topics. What are we gonna talk
We
about?
covered a
I
lot
think
of topics.
everything. We've gone through
We-
life.
Yeah, we went through quite the journey there.
I have indeed.
You ebbed and flowed, baby. That was nice.
All right,
We got
everyone.
permission in there, even though we didn't plan on it. So
Yeah, right. Permission.
yeah.
Snuck its
Mhm.
play
There you
in.
go. A little what is it?
Permission.
To be continued.
Bonus.
To be continued.
So what is this, episode 4 or episode 5
This is episode 4.
or episode 2? Because I still want to hear episode 2. So
All right, we'll put that live right when this goes live. This will be on
Sounds
YouTube
good.
too, y'all.
Are you gonna put
oh,
it
it's
on
on
YouTube?
YouTube
You're gonna
too.
create a channel?
Oh damn.
We'll put it on YouTube. What?
You're gonna create a channel for it?
This is all going in it, by the way, you guys. I'm not editing this. Yeah, we're gonna make a channel.
That sounds
Yeah.
lazy. That's lazy.
Best be
podcasting
editing,
right
boy.
now.
We're not there
Yeah,
yet.
you should
We're
be
not
editing
there
it.
yet.
I want
Nah, 'cause
montages
then
of
that
my
means
face.
we have to edit the monitor ourselves while we talk. So that's good.